it's never once. I'm a trap nigga, wanna know I'm stacked. I hit the plug up, thinking right out of vacuums. If the drugs up, bitch, ain't traffic. They know that I'm getting bugs. Now I'm out here causing havoc, niggas.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy SlimReacts. I'm back in with another so fresh and so clean new video, man. Today's video, we got the downfall of Kyle Busch. Now, Kyle Busch used to be my favorite NASCAR driver back in like the mid 2010s, you know what I'm saying, when I used to watch the sport. I miss when he used to dominate. I miss Kyle Busch dominating the sport because it was more entertaining. He was like the villain. Like, he just kept winning. So he was like the Boston Celtics, what they are right now to the NBA, you know. The Celtics, everyone hates the Celtics. I'm obviously a Celtics fan, so I feel the hatred. But it feels good to see the Celtics winning. But not my favorite driver, obviously, is the man Jimmy Jam, 48. He's the greatest of all time, my favorite driver. Kyle Busch is definitely probably like my third, honestly. Jeff Gordon got to be up there. I was a Jeff Gordon fan for a little bit. But anyways, let's get straight into the video, man. Downfall of Kyle Busch. Sucks to see. Yeah, man. I mean, it pains me to see.
For well over a decade, Kyle Busch spent his weekends dominating everything you can drive in NASCAR, cementing himself as one of the best drivers the sport had ever seen.
Kyle Busch in his Joe Gibbs
2019 Auto Club.
53rd race in the Cup Series and hit his magic number 200 in Southern California.
He had amassed over 50 wins and 2 championships in the top level of stock car racing on the planet, before making the shocking decision to leave his longtime home at Joe Gibbs Racing to join Richard Childress Racing for 2023.
It wasn't really his fault, though. M&M's pulled out, actually. Mars Corporation, who owns M&M's, Skittles, all the candy companies that he was sponsored by, they pulled out. And Kyle Busch's nickname literally was the Candy Man, so he had no sponsors. And it was kind of wraps up there, so he had to make the switch.
And onward. A team that would be considered a step down from what he had been used to driving for, where since then, only trouble has found him.
I mean, you would think he would do better just because Chevy's actually, you know, they're dominating the next-gen car. Obviously, it's Toyota now. But back when the next-gen car came out, it was the Chevys that were dominating. Chevy dominated towards the end of the 2020s, for sure. I mean, Kyle Larson.
Concrete canyon, and it's blind. You got to get through there safely, which everybody does, except Kyle Busch.
Speaking of Kyle Busch, I was going to text him. I was going to say, are you okay?
So what about this team switch brought on a disastrous and disappointing twilight era to a Hall of Fame driver's career?
It's a shitty next-gen car.
To find his way back to victory lane in the Cup Series.
Next-gen car fucked everything up, bro. Like, the next-gen car is... I literally hate this car, bro. Like, when it first came out, I hated it. I thought it was just ugly. I thought it was slow. But now they're bringing back the horsepower to, like, 750. Yeah, congrats. You got it up to 2015 standards. 2016. Yeah, bring back 900 horsepower 2014 package with a high downforce, and then we're talking. That's real NASCAR right there. Not, you know, this 550 crap we had, you know, towards the end of the 2020s with the you know, massive downforce, 550 horsepower. That was lame. Like, literally every single race was just full throttle. It literally took no skill.
Stages to what would become the story of how Kyle Busch fell off.
It's just, you know, the next gen car is not really, you know, he dominated in the Gen 6. Next gen car, he just couldn't adapt.
Place in 2021, but not for the reasons you might expect.
And I remember watching this
Busch
too.
was in the middle of another stellar season driving the 18 car, with wins at Kansas and Pocono to extend his streak of having a win every season to 17 years in a row. A new Joe Gibbs Racing prospect was thriving in his first taste of NASCAR, collecting 4 wins across a part-time Xfinity season at just 18 years old, and just so happened to be the grandson of Joe Gibbs himself and Ty Gibbs, who was slated for a full Xfinity season in 2022 to prepare himself for the Cup Series hopefully in 2023. On the business side of things, it was reported in late 2021 that longtime and iconic sponsorship partner Mars, or M&M's, would be gone at the conclusion of 2022, leaving behind a gaping hole in the sponsorship money that Joe Gibbs Racing had been accustomed to receiving since all the way back in 2008 from M&M's. and with Busch's pedigree earning him one of the top salaries in the sport, financially, it'd be difficult for Gibbs to be able to re-sign him without a sponsor pouring millions into the 18 car, or without Busch taking a major pay cut. An extension for the driver and team looked less and less likely across the summer months of 2022, before a bombshell soon dropped on the NASCAR world.
That's why it took a while, but at the end of the day, one team and one owner emerged as the clear choice. The second I sat down with him, I knew his company and his people and the culture around there had the ability to compete for championships from day one. So now for the moment you all could...
Richard Childress competing for championships. It's not the Dale Earnhardt days, bro. Sorry to break it to you.
I'm excited to announce that I'll be taking my talents to Welcome North Carolina to drive the number 8 car for Richard Childress Racing starting in 2023. I'd like to introduce you to my new boss, Richard Childress.
He should have went to 2311, bro, with the Toyota sponsorship. Guaranteed you should have went straight there. Because look where they're at right now. They're winning races. Kyle Busch would be winning races, competing for championships if he was with 2311. With Danny Hamlin and Michael Jordan's team.
Kyle Busch would be returning to Chevrolet to drive Richard Childress' number 8 car. The same man he had gotten into a physical altercation with after a truck race all the way back in 2011, only adding on to the shock that NASCAR fan base felt after seeing this. Luckily for Kyle Busch, the RCR 8 car had already been to victory lane 2 times in NASCAR's new next-gen car this season, a sudden change of pace for what was a struggling team in the mid to late 2010s and early 2020s, with Richard Childress Racing having just 4 wins from 2014 all the way through 2021, a number Busch had beaten himself many times over driving in the 18.
I even know Ryan Newman won with
next-gen
Richard
car
Childress.
leveling out the playing field for the teams in the sport, Busch was poised to prove in 2023 that him going to RCR wasn't a career ender, quickly silencing anyone who doubted his swap.
RCR, baby.
Goes to Kyle Busch.
That's right. How about you, RCR and everybody, Kyle Busch?
Kyle, you've won a lot of big races through your career, but given everything that went in with the move and the change in teams, where does this one rank?
I think it ranks high.
And coincidentally, he won the last race at Auto Club too.
Just because it ranks to the fact of I can do it. I never doubted myself, but sometimes you do. You kind of get down on it. You wonder what's going on and what's happening. And
White flag. Next flag ends the race.
Oh, big push.
Blaney
Turns him.
Around goes Bubba.
Oh, into Keselowski. Around. Oh, another hard shot. Allmendinger.
Caution waves with Kyle Busch in front. Logano inside Larson, but off turn 4. Kyle Busch will get his 63rd career victory in the NASCAR Cup Series.
Through the first half of 2023, things looked to be business as usual for the 2-time champion, putting up 3 wins in the first 18 races, while also sitting an impressive 5th in the standings, comfortably asserting himself as a championship favorite. Yet after this point, the cracks began to show in their speed, as although Busch qualified into the playoffs for the 11th year in a row, they'd quickly be eliminated after 2 poor finishes in the round of 12 brought an end to any championship aspirations, soon closing out 2023 with a 14th place finish in the standings, while nearly mimicking his stats from a year prior driving for Joe Gibbs. A solid stepping stone to build on for many years to come at his new home. Quickly before I move on with the video, I believe you should subscribe or RCR. I believe in free will. As the year turned over into 2024, Busch and RCR prepared for what hopefully was a standout sophomore season, which brought back the first half stats of 2023. However, unfortunately, they'd only stand out for the wrong reasons. Beginning with a heartbreaking loss at Atlanta during the second race of the 2024 season, and a 3-wide photo finish, it only set the tone for what was in store for the duo. 5 finishes of 20th or worse in the next 8 races, with the best finish of 9th in those weeks, dropped the 18 from first in the standings to on the playoff cut line, desperately needing a stellar spring and summer to stay afloat, and it seemed like he might get that. Qualifying on pole for the first time since his gateway win the year prior at Dover, he'd solidly finish inside the top 5, backing that up with a top 10 finish the next week, before a complete nosedive in the middle of the season brought on one of the worst stretches of Kyle Busch's career.
He just
You know, just hate it for them and trying to race for a playoff spot, and you know, gradually fall in there a little bit, and you know, just he got loose and wiped us out.
Steve, you think about the last 3 weeks for this race team. They've easily had top 10 speed, and they're going to walk away with 3 bad finishes in a row. That's what they cannot have. And Randall Burnett just told Kyle Busch, take it to the garage. We're done.
It's kind of hard to tell. I couldn't tell if Kyle got up the racetrack.
Meanwhile, Kyle Busch, who's sitting back in 30th, is having an issue on the track, and he has climbed out of the car, Rick.
Yeah, he parked the car, and that is on the exit of turn 4. Parked the car and
bro just gave up.
They could have actually picked up a lot of spots.
Oh, he hit the wall.
Oh my goodness.
2 to go from Nashville. The 5 doesn't go. They bottle up behind him. Big wreck for the 8.
He gets a response, no matter what. Victory lane, he gets a response. Having issues, absolutely, Rick.
Yeah, he's been unlucky with that zone sponsor.
Big run by some of those cars in the back and around into the field. The 8 of Kyle Busch was the one who went down and came back up.
Just like with the pedigree sponsor with Joe Gibbs, he's been unlucky with that. With the zone car, with the RCR.
His entry was so low because of the block that he wasn't able to make the corner, and that's what I kept talking about Blaney. What he was able to do is enter that low and still stay on the bottom.
The bleeding finally began to slow down a few months later at Richmond, earning a 12th place run while his teammate Austin Dillon found victory lane. Kinda. However, at this point in the season, the playoffs would be an afterthought for the 8 team, unless he was able to make it into victory lane across the next 3 weeks. He'd begin his hunt for a win at Michigan, and despite having solid speed for the race, even leading for a small portion of it, he'd have to settle with the 4th place finish. The first top 5 he'd earned in the last 13 weeks, the longest stretch in his NASCAR career up to this point. For his second attempt at saving his season, the series would head to Daytona, a track where anyone could win at, and after surviving a night of huge pileups and unpredictability, Busch found himself lining up in the lead for the final overtime restarts, soon earning a first-hand view that anyone could win this race, coming at the most inopportune time for him.
You've got to go back a long, long way for Kyle Busch. 2008.
Oh, I remember this.
He won here at Daytona, and now he is tantalizingly close to that victory. But here comes Harrison Burton for the Wood Brothers. He's being pushed by Parker Retzlaff, and the 23-year-old from Huntersville, North Carolina, is at the front of this field and may race his way into the playoffs. Busch goes low, Burton blocks, he gets back up, comes to the line. Jeff, your little boy has done it. Harrison Burton wins in Daytona.
The playoff cutoff race would be at a complete opposite track of Daytona. Dubbed the track too tough to tame, it was widely known as one of the hardest tracks on NASCAR's schedule, thanks to its 2 oddly shaped turns presenting a multitude of challenges for the driver. Busch found himself outside the top 10 for most of the night, unfortunately, but a stroke of luck from a slew of late race yellows presented the 8 team an opportunity to change their strategy, electing to pit from 3rd for fresh tires with 20 to go, cycling him back to 7th on the final restart with 17 laps left to save his season.
Gets a flyer. Watch that yellow and black car, the 8 of Kyle Busch on the inside of Keselowski. Now lining up Priest. He goes to the inside of Priest. Christopher Bell is out chasing Briscoe. A great start by the 14, Jeff, matched by the start of the 8. 3 laps, fresher tires, and a long winless streak on the line easily disposes of the 5 of Larson. The 263 laps led tonight looks like nothing versus the 8.
Heartbreak last week for Kyle Busch.
Here we go, inside Christopher Bell. The last 2 races, he's finished in the top 5. There's real momentum with this 8 team at Richard Childress Racing.
Busch had the restart of a lifetime, throwing it back to his Wild Thing days to drive up into 2nd place with ease. However, the last person he'd have separating him from victory lane was Chase Briscoe, who also needed a win to save his season and was racing to earn one final win for Stewart-Haas Racing before they closed their doors at the conclusion of 2024. In just over 10 laps, the drivers managed to gap the next closest car by over 4 seconds, running perfect lap times lap after lap, meaning if Busch wanted to steal the win on the white flag, he'd have to be more than perfect to beat Briscoe.
Can Briscoe hang on? Or has Kyle Busch got something? Both guys are going to break a very long winless streak, but who will it be?
I think the 14 won this one.
Kyle Busch throwing
I remember this race.
Chase Briscoe, he can. It's a win, and you're in. And the 29-year-old from Mitchell, Indiana, Chase Briscoe wins the Southern 500.
Short, come up short. And, maybe I'm a washed up old dog, but hopefully I can find a few more trophies.
After missing NASCAR's postseason for the first time since 2012, Kyle Busch was left with another streak to try and save, as without a win in the final 10 races, his 19-year streak of at least one win in each season would come to a close, and also mark the first time he'd failed to win a race during a season in his Cup Series career. Yet nevertheless, he'd find himself with one opportunity to change this, and bring about something positive to a season full of disappointments in Kansas, after taking the lead with 63 to go from Ross Chastain. Busch continued to hold his lead over Chastain throughout the next 30 laps, taking control of the race and seeming on the path to victory lane. However, with only 32 to go, everything fell apart for him.
Briscoe gives him the top, but now Briscoe up to the top. No, he doesn't. Oh, he pitches him off.
Whoa, in the wall! Busch is gone! It's over for Kyle Busch.
Let off here, let it roll, Caution is out.
A day that looked like a dream run, and maybe a victory run, has come to an end.
What's the emotion as it sort of slipped away from you there?
Well, it didn't start to, it just did. Nothing. I mean, I'm numb. I don't know what to do.
The season concluded with 9 straight finishes outside of the top 10 to leave Kyle Busch 20th in the standings, his worst since his rookie season in 2005. And across the board, Busch posted career lows in top 5s, top 10s, and laps led, regressing heavily from 2023, with the gap between the powerhouse teams in NASCAR of Hendrick, Gibbs, and Penske only growing with each passing year. Things seem bleak for his future at RCR. Surprisingly, 2025 started off on a high note for Kyle Busch, as although he'd crashed in the Daytona 500, he'd follow that up with a top 10 at Atlanta, while shockingly leading the most laps in the day at Coda the next week, being passed late in the day by Christopher Bell for the win, but finishing top 5 overall, before an 8th at Phoenix wrapped up a stellar 3-race stretch. However, after this point, it was evident that Richard Childress Racing was lacking behind severely in the speed department in the garage, as week after week Busch and teammate Austin Dillon struggled to race inside the top 10 on the track, with the A-team only earning 2 top 10s from the 4th race of the season, all the way to the halfway point, already putting him in a must-win situation from 20th in the standings. In more cases than not, you found the 8 and the 3 running in the 20s instead of running up front, outside of Richmond, where Austin Dillon just casually owns that track for 1 race a year. And for the first time in Kyle Busch's career, he'd failed to make the playoffs for consecutive years, only managing a best finish on the track of 5th 3 times in 2025, something you wouldn't be able to believe at the start of the decade could ever happen to him.
Gotta get some race cars. We are in trouble. Period.
Again, Busch posted new lows in top 5s and laps led, while also finishing outside of the top 20 in the standings for the first time in his career in 21st. This was rock bottom, or so one would think. As of now in 2026, Richard Childress Racing has continued to decline in the Cup Series, unloading with cars that usually practice and qualify in the 30s, while seeing Busch struggle heavily to stay on the lead lap for most events.
Yeah. What happened on your lap? Was it just a speed thing?
Sideways. Undrivable loose.
Is that something that can be fixed? Or?
No telling.
So obviously tomorrow...
All right, last question.
you're going to have to try to stay on the lead lap for stage one. There hasn't been any cautions in a stage one this year. Like, do you think that you'll be able to, like, do you need a caution to help you with that?
I need a caution between lap 30 and 40 because my tires will be smoked by then.
Through 7 races as of the recording of this video, Busch sits 24th in the standings with a best finish of 12th in 2026, spending 0 laps in the lead outside of the Daytona 500, and a turnaround doesn't seem to be in sight for neither Richard Childress Racing or Kyle Busch. So will Kyle Busch ever break his over 100 race long winless streak? Well, if he's driving for RCR for the rest of his career, it seems unlikely if it's not on a super speedway or without a massive stroke of luck gifting it to him. Which is why hopefully in the near future, Kyle Busch gets some type of upgrade in the car he's driving by going to a new team. Otherwise, things don't look good for the future of Busch and NASCAR's Premier Series. For most fans in NASCAR, whether you grew up loving or hating Kyle Busch, it's hard to not feel sad for what has happened in the twilight years of his career. As well, Denny Hamlin, who is nearly the same age as Busch and came up at the same time in the 2000s, still drives for Joe Gibbs Racing and continues to put up numbers that make him a top driver in the sport as a winning threat every weekend. Busch competing for wins at RCR has become an afterthought, and now the team mostly fights to stay on the lead lap or for a top 20 finish to salvage a terrible day. Seeing Kyle Busch in this current state has made me only more happy to know I got to grow up watching one of the greatest NASCAR drivers of all time, week in and week out. The wins that came easy to him are now distant memories, and for the first time in his career, his talent and effort doesn't guarantee him results. Kyle Busch makes me appreciate dominance more when I see it in this day and age of NASCAR, based on how quickly it can disappear, and one can only hope that somehow, some way, on some day, Kyle Busch will be standing in victory lane again as a NASCAR Cup Series winner in the future.
Damn. This is sad, bro. Like, how quickly things can go downhill. Hey, bro, and you know what sucks? Look at this. I literally have 2 Kyle Busch diecast cars. I have some cars down here, like on my PS4 and my Xbox One. Yeah, let's see if I can put the camera. See that? The PS4 right there and the Xbox One. Try to see it right there. Right there. Those are the 2015 cars that I have on the Xbox, and I have on the PlayStation the 2023 cars. I have this 2015 Kyle Busch. This was his like primary paint job right here with the M&M's crispy. This is my favorite car right here. Out of all of them, I like this Toyota Camry from 2015. And then this is the 2023 car right here, which I picked these up from Target. So this is the Cheddar. This was his primary sponsor, I think. Yeah, these have been collecting dust, obviously. I don't use my PlayStation. You know, I haven't used that thing in months, but yeah. It sucks, man. I mean, it really does suck. Like, I was a big Kyle Busch guy, man. I remember his dominance. His dominance was just peak NASCAR, bro. Like, seriously. That's what we need in this sport. I think we need to bring back the pure dominance, because now all it is just the big teams winning. You know, you have Gibbs, Penske, and then you have Hendrick. And then the rest are just miles behind. I miss where it used to be, you know, in the 2010s where, like, you know, anybody else could win. Like, look at 2021, for example. They had like 7 different winners in the first couple races. That was fun. 2021 season was really fun season. It was the last season of the Gen 6. Yeah, 2021 actually was supposed to be the season where the next gen was going to come in. Same with Formula One's new car. But COVID stopped that. And so 2021 for both sports was just like they reused the 2020 cars, basically. With some minor changes. But yeah, that's what made the 2021 a fun season, because there was a lot of different winners. You never know who was going to win, right? I mean, Michael McDowell won the Daytona 500. Nobody in hell would have thought that Michael McDowell would have won. I thought Keselowski was going to win. I wanted Keselowski to win. But until that final lap, man, hey. So I don't know, man. But downfall of Kyle Busch, man, I really hope he can, you know, just leave RCR and go to Denny Hamlin's team with Michael Jordan in 2311, and maybe they could bring back the 18 car I don't know if Joe Gibbs still has like numbering rights to it, but because they don't run the 18 no more since 2022, they haven't ran the 18 car. But if Kyle Busch can drive for Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan's team 2311, which I actually do have a Denny Hamlin car as well from the 2023 right here. This kind of looks like, you know, the Kyle Busch. But if Kyle Busch can race for 2311, I think that'll revive his career. I think with how powerful and how strong Toyota is and how they're dominating right now. You know, because Chevy dominated like in the 2020s, right? And then Toyota's dominating currently. So, yeah, if he can go back to, you know, a Toyota-powered team, I think, you know, he'll still have it in him. If not, worst comes to worst, he'll probably just go full-time truck series with Spire. Because, you know, he's won this year in the truck series. He's always winning in the truck series. But, yeah, I really like to see... Yo, I see on TikTok these free Kyle Busch school walkouts, man. They're so funny. I mean, seriously, no. Free Kyle Busch. Seriously, he is stuck in hell. And we need to free him from RCR. Honestly, I think RCR should just sell the team, bro. As much as historic, you know, that team is with, you know, the 3 car in the Dale, I think RCR should just maybe run 1 car or maybe not even run the Cup Series. Maybe they should just run Xfinity, honestly, and just help new guys get into Cup. I don't know, man. Those are my thoughts on the video. Those are, you know, some of my takes on Kyle Busch, man. I hope he can get better for him, man. I really do. I like to see Kyle Busch winning. Nobody likes to see this. I mean, same thing happened with my man, Jimmy Johnson, man. As you can see, I have him right up there. And I actually drew this in 2020 as well. This right here. The back half is supposed to be purple, but it faded out. That's how long it's been there. But same fate happened with Jimmy Johnson. Once, you know, he won the championship in 2016, as you can see, 7 times. It just went downhill after 2017, where he hit the wall at Pocono. That was like a hard reset for him. And after that, he has only won once, which was the 2019 Daytona Duel. That was his last win, even though it doesn't count as an official race. That was his last win in NASCAR. He's gotten close many times in 2020. Darlington, I mean, he was looking to win the stage, and he got, that was the first race where NASCAR came back, and he got, he just lost control of the car or whatever happened. I remember watching that race too. Even Daytona, William Byron got his first Cup win, and Jimmy Johnson was about to make the playoffs that year until some bad luck happened. And I mean, yeah, it just sucks to see, man. It sucks to see these, you know, GOATs, man. You know, they're all retiring. So, I don't know, man. That's just my thoughts on this, the whole Kyle Busch situation, man. Free Kyle Busch, man. Free Kyle Busch.
Y'all see through, even with a blindfold. I could try today, so I'ma fly away. Live life and then fly away. Try to see the flyer say Trace, so she gotta get her hair right. Cause I ain't here at night, even if they here.